goes both ways here.
But you're saying the role that she wants you to play, or she's comfortable with, you don't want to play anymore.
Which
is one of the boy toy
that you balance, and the respect hasn't been there for that. But yet I would still like to be able to say, hey, you know what? My heart is broken about this.
It didn't happen on camera. There was no dramatic porch showdown, no yelling match for the world to see. But what did happen outside a quiet Flagstaff credit union might be the moment. Janelle Brown officially drew a line in the sand and left. Kody scrambling in her rearview mirror. Because when Kody Brown allegedly tried to pull Janelle into a surprise tax mess involving their still active shared LLC, she didn't just say no. She rolled down the window, stared him in the face and said, "Why is Robyn's address on this?" Sources close to the Brown family say the confrontation took place in early July. Kody had called Janelle under the guise of finalizing paperwork for Coyote Pass. She agreed to meet likely, thinking this was finally about closure. But instead of resolution, she got ambushed. When she pulled up, Kody didn't even wait for her to get out of the car. He allegedly threw a stack of documents through her open window and launched into a fast-paced explanation about tax issues, real estate filings, and a lingering LLC she supposedly forgot about. Janelle didn't even put her car in park. Glanced at the top page, saw Robyn's home address, and instantly knew something was off. This wasn't about tying loose ends. This was about tying her back into an obligation she'd long walked away from, and she wasn't having it. This is just a signature to close it out. Kody allegedly pleaded, "You don't want to drag this into court, do you?" But the guilt trip didn't land, cause what Janelle saw wasn't closure-ette, was a trap. The paperwork was filled with vague figures, missing ledgers, and suspicious owner distribution entries that made no sense. It looked more like a financial time bomb than a business wrap-up. Her response: "Email me every receipt and every ledger page." Then, without another word, she hit the gas and left him standing on the sidewalk. This isn't the first time Kody's been accused of dragging his former wives into financial chaos. Longtime fans remember the 2020 housing debacle when he obsessively pitched a single mega home, despite every wife wanting their own financial independence. Janelle stood firm then, too. She refused to sign on to mortgages that didn't serve her family and insisted on keeping a meticulous paper trail. And it seems that trail is now her lifeline, because this tax situation, it might go way deeper than Coyote Pass. Insiders claim the IRS documents Kody handed over weren't just about 2023 land taxes. They may have included multiple years of deductions and expenses taken under Janelle's name without her knowledge. And the most shocking part? Robyn allegedly knew. A former production staffer recalled a chilling moment during a break-in. Filming, Robyn, half joking, half serious, said, "Janelle's name is still on everything. Kody's just waiting for her to forget." Well, she didn't forget. And now that Janelle's demanding receipts, hiring legal counsel, and refusing to budge, this parking lot standoff may have just sparked something much bigger. Because this isn't about paperwork. It never was. This is about a pattern. About Kody allegedly exploiting outdated legal entanglements to maintain control long after the emotional ties were cut. About a man who built a kingdom with 4 wives, and now scrambles to hold on to pieces of that empire even if it means dragging them back in through the fine print. According to insiders, Kody has quietly relied on one tactic for years: blur the lines, keep the accounts shared, count on them not fighting back. But Janelle's done rolling over. Behind the scenes, she's reportedly been retracing every financial step since the Flagstaff move. Back when all the wives were told to contribute to a joint family fund for the land, for the dream, for the forever home that never came. Back when trust was used as currency, and questioning Kody's leadership felt like betrayal. But betrayal already happened, not by Janelle, but to her. Because while she was rebuilding her life, growing vegetables in her trailer garden, and slowly piecing her future together brick by brick, Kody and Robyn were allegedly still listing her name on IRS documents. And now it's all unraveling. No cameras were rolling, No dramatic music cued. But what happened in that parking lot? That quiet little showdown outside a Flagstaff bank? That might just be the moment the real reckoning began. But now that future looks very different, and that shared pot, well, it allegedly paid for more than just dirt. Family friends say Janelle has recently pulled out her old banker's boxes. Yes, the literal cardboard ones, where she's been keeping binders of every invoice, tax form, and receipt since the early 2010s. She's allegedly flagged at least 3 years where her name was used in tax deductions for properties she didn't live in and expenses she never approved. And one of the biggest red flags, a string of deductions tied to home office upgrades that rumor has it were for Robyn's online jewelry business. Not a family venture, and certainly not something Janelle had a stake in. Not just looking. At one tax year, a source emphasized. She's tracing every signature, every cross-filed form, and what she's finding isn't adding up. This kind of thing isn't new to Sister Wives viewers. Longtime fans remember that 10-season 15 moment when Kody accused Christine of bailing on investments and tried to reframe the land situation as a team betrayal. But these so-called betrayals often came on the heels of financial corner cutting deals Kody made without fully informing everyone or situations where the wives were looped in only after the fact. Janelle, being the most practical and financially literate of the bunch, was often the one asking uncomfortable questions. But sources say her ability to keep the peace often meant letting things slide until now. This time, she's allegedly documenting everything. A friend close to Janelle said she's taken to highlighting past bank statements and referencing them with tax filings Kody submitted while they were still legally linked through the LLC. And here's the kicker. Those statements reportedly show deposits and withdrawals that don't match family meeting decisions. There's money that went out. The source claimed that no one remembers approving, not even Mary. And given that Mary has mostly stayed quiet lately, her silence is starting to speak volumes. So if this really is the start of Janelle going full forensic accountant mode, then Kody might have more than a tax bill on his hands. He might be facing the financial version of a paper trail ambush, and with every form she uncovers, the stakes climb higher. Because if Janelle proves misuse of her identity or funds, then it's not just about the taxes anymore. It's about accountability. While Janelle quietly pores over boxes of documents and digs through digital archives, fan investigators online have kicked into high gear, and what they're uncovering might just back her up. On Reddit, Facebook, and TikTok, Sister Wives followers have been cross-referencing known tax filings, property purchase dates, and even background footage from old episodes. And what's emerging is a pattern that's hard to ignore. Questionable timing, vague LLC transfers, and expenses that seem to benefit one household far more than the others. I saw what was happening, but I trusted it would all work out in the end. And looking back now, I'm like, wow, that was really dumb. The biggest target, Robyn's lifestyle. Because while Kody has long insisted that the family's money was shared, equally, fans say the numbers tell a different story. And now, rumor has it, so do the receipts. A particularly damning theory that's gained traction in recent weeks is centered around Robyn's boutique spending habits. Remember the online jewelry business that supposedly funded her independence? Viewers have pointed out that just as that venture was collapsing, Kody was funneling more money into home-based business upgrades. Money that, based on recently uncovered documents, may have come from the shared LLC tied to Janelle and Christine. One alleged ledger page circulating on Line screenshot form includes a 5-figure expense labeled office decor and shelving dated just weeks before Robyn's doll room reveal. A coincidence maybe, but fans aren't buying it. And here's where things really start to unravel. A source close to the production crew claims that during a season 17 filming break, someone overheard Kody venting about having to shuffle money around again because the wives don't understand how taxes work. That same source alleges that several of the wives had previously questioned deductions made in their name, particularly ones they'd never seen paperwork for. It's not just a matter of signing forms. The source said they weren't even being shown the forms in the first place. Insiders whisper that Janelle's tax wake-up call didn't start this year. It allegedly began last fall when she was denied a small business loan because her name was still associated with a delinquent real estate holding company. That prompted her to look deeper. And according to one friend, that's when she started seeing numbers that didn't match her memory. At least one six-figure discrepancy appears to point to Robyn's household expenses, particularly revolving around security systems, custom furniture orders, and backyard upgrades at her $1 million home. And all of it allegedly flowed through accounts once tied to Janelle. Social media sleuths have even gone so far as to overlay credit report data with county permit filings, unearthing a timeline that shows luxury upgrades to Robyn's house during the same period Janelle was living in an RV. Let that sink in. One wife was fighting off winter in a trailer, while another's home was getting topiary landscaping and interior designers. Fans are now calling it what it looks like, a siphoning of family resources neatly disguised as business expenses. And if the paper trail Janelle's assembling confirms even half of this, Kody may have far more to answer for than just an IRS letter. Because behind every redacted number, there may be a real betrayal. For Janelle, it was never about revenge. Not at first. But after weeks of chasing down old emails, digging through file folders, and hearing the same line from Kody, "It's nothing. Just sign it." The tone began to shift. What started as skepticism reportedly turned into strategy, according to someone close to her inner circle. Janelle quietly retained legal counsel in late July. The attorney's specialty: financial disclosures, LLC dissolutions, and forensic audits. She's not playing around. The source confirmed this is someone who's handled business breakups nastier than this. And now he's reading every form Kody ever had her name on. If Kody thought he could fast-talk his way through this latest mess, he clearly underestimated the woman who once balanced all their bills while raising 6 kids. The lawyer's first move, according to insiders, was to request a full forensic review of the joint business entities tied to the Brown family name. That includes Brown Family Entertainment, Kody Brown Family LLC, and at least one Arizona-based holding company connected to Coyote Pass and the Flagstaff House mortgages. Multiple wives had at one point been listed as co-owners or contributors, depending on the year. And while Janelle had largely removed herself from the financial picture post-split, the companies themselves, due to lack of official dissolution, still left her legally exposed. In other words, if taxes were owed, she could still be on the hook unless she could prove mismanagement. Why didn't I insist we were all titled on everything? That haunting question, reportedly asked by Janelle herself in a recent off-camera moment, now feels like the spark that lit a legal wildfire, one that's rapidly closing in on Kody and Robyn Brown, because while Kody plays innocent and Robyn clings to silence, Janelle has receipts. And now, it's not just personal, it's potentially criminal. The bombshell spreadsheets, according to multiple insider sources. The real turning point came when Janelle's legal team received anonymously leaked spreadsheets internal family documents sent by someone claiming to have worked in the Brown family's back office during their TLC heyday. These spreadsheets, reportedly dating back years, show a chilling pattern. Family income was funneled through central accounts. Funds were distributed unequally, and one household labeled only as Household B received nearly $7,000 in monthly miscellaneous withdrawals. Janelle's legal team asked the obvious: who exactly is Household B? Insiders say the answer pointed directly to Robyn's household. And suddenly, what Kody tried to frame as a routine land tax dispute now looks more like a long-running scheme to drain shared resources. Kody's panic begins Kody's initial reaction. Allegedly shocked, but smug. Sources say he downplayed the legal involvement to family members, calling it a scare tactic and claiming there's nothing to audit. But that bravado didn't last long, because in early August, Janelle's team formally filed a records request demanding full banking history digital transaction logs. All communications tied to the disputed tax filings. That's when Kody reportedly cracked. He knows what this is, one insider said. This is Janelle drawing a line in the sand. Robyn, no longer quiet Robyn, who has stayed publicly quiet during this financial unraveling, is reportedly privately panicking. Sources say she's been urging Kody to settle quickly and quietly, terrified of what a full financial audit could reveal, not just about the land or the taxes, but about how the TLC money was really divided. Because if it turns out that money was never properly accounted for or was diverted into personal luxury expenses under the radar, that's not just a family feud. That's a legal nightmare. Kody's next move and Mary's shocking response. According to those close to the situation, Kody did what he always does under pressure. He tried to shift the blame. He allegedly told close associates, "We trusted the wrong bookkeeper. That's who messed this all up." But documents under review reportedly show some of the most suspicious transfers came directly from Kody's own hand. Even worse, desperate to patch the cracks, Kody allegedly called at least 2 former family friends, asking if they'd co-sign a business loan. The reason remains unclear, but most jaw-dropping of all, he reached out to Mary, not with an apology, not with remorse, but with a pitch. "Would you be willing to use your LLC to help secure a loan?" he reportedly asked her. "I'll pay you back once the land sells." Kay, sources say, didn't even flinch. She shook her head and said, "Not again." The debt, the dolls, and the dollar signs, and this is where it spirals. Because all fingers are pointing back to Robyn. Her financial footprint is now under a microscope. And the details are explosive. Screenshots and verified but widely shared allegedly show PayPal transfers from the Brown family's shared account to a personal email linked to Robyn. Some were for $800, others over $5,000, all with the same suspicious note: reimbursement. But reimbursement for what? One transaction, dated just weeks after Janelle confirmed she was living in an RV with no water, sparked outright rage. At that same time, Robyn was adding a $20,000 privacy fence to her Flagstaff home. Fans exploded. It's not just about her getting more. One longtime viewer posted, "It's about her taking from the pot, while the others were told there's no money." That's betrayal. Audit panic. Robyn makes her move behind the scenes. Robyn is reportedly in direct contact with Kody's accountant, scrambling to find out whether her name will be flagged in Janelle's audit. According to insiders, she's especially concerned about charges made using a credit card tied to Brown Holdings' shared LLC. That card, sources claim, was used for both boutique inventory and personal items. Now, investigators are allegedly tracing the flow of funds. Business and personal expenses were mixed, and if any of those payments came from shared TLC money, that could be a massive legal issue. The infamous doll room now, a flashpoint. Remember the doll room? That quiet, eerie space Robyn showed briefly on TLC. Now, it's become a symbol of the alleged financial imbalance. Based on fan investigations and visible designer brands, the room is estimated to have cost over $60,000, including custom cabinetry, designer lighting, and dozens of porcelain dolls. Where did that money come from? No one's sure. Robyn's defenders claim she paid for it herself. But Janelle's legal team is now actively investigating whether some of the expenses were run through the shared LLC, possibly without other wives' knowledge. And if they were, the entire Brown empire could be facing a financial reckoning unlike anything they've seen before. Final thought. The last ties are breaking. I just want this to be done. This is the only thing that still ties me to Kody and Robyn. I'm ready to close that chapter. That's what Janelle reportedly told a friend recently. But Kody still doesn't believe she'll go through with it. He thinks she's bluffing. He thinks she won't expose everything because it would mean exposing herself, too. But what he doesn't understand is she's not alone anymore. This time, Janelle has support. This time, she's armed with documents, a legal team, and a growing wave of public support. And if this audit goes where insiders think it's headed, where did the money go? It's the question echoing louder than ever across Reddit threads, family group chats, and TLC production meetings alike. And Janelle Brown just might be the one to finally force an answer. The drama we've watched unfold for years was never just about polygamy. It was about promises, broken ones, about land that was supposed to bring the Brown family together but instead has become a battlefield of silence. Secrecy. And now, subpoenas. And at the center of this storm is a woman who has finally said, enough. A desert dream turned legal nightmare Coyote Pass was supposed to be the fresh start. The dream, a legacy. But today, that patch of Arizona dirt is less about family unity and more about legal ultimatums. Back taxes and broken trust. Kody Brown is reportedly scrambling, desperate even, trying to retroactively secure signatures from his ex-wives to clean up what sources say is a financial disaster years in the making. But Janelle, she's done playing supportive wife. No more promises, no more waiting. Just cash on the table, or I walk. Lawyers in tow. That's the ultimatum. She's laid down according to multiple insiders. She kept the receipts. And now she's using them for years. Janelle poured tens of thousands into her portion of the land, while others furnished their homes. She paid interest on a dream she never got to live in. And while she was told she'd get first pick, on her parcel, all she got was another tax form to sign, tied to an LLC she says has been manipulated behind closed doors. But Janelle isn't signing anything until she gets answers. Real ones. She's demanded an independent appraisal of Coyote Pass. She's secured her own assessor unaffiliated with TLC or the Brown name. And she's reportedly hired a legal team that's already compiled a 100-page audit packed with bank records, tax filings, and side-by-side breakdowns of TLC income versus real payouts. The implications, explosive. Behind the smiles, Robyn's panic is showing while Robyn hasn't spoken publicly. Fans have noticed her usual on-screen confidence is visibly rattled. And insiders say she's deeply anxious about what a full financial disclosure could do not just to her image, but to her bank account. Because if those PayPal screenshots delayed county fees and production-related housing payments trace back the way some sources allege, Robyn could be looking at more than a PR crisis. And TLC, they're sweating. When the IRS comes knocking, TLC might have to stop filming production. Insiders are reportedly scrambling, fearing potential lawsuits and IRS audits. According to one crew member, if this gets litigious, it could shut down everything: filming, licensing, reruns, even editing. Allegations have surfaced that TLC funds were sometimes advanced to one household more than others, all under the umbrella of production needs. If proven, this could shatter the entire equal pay narrative. And with Janelle allegedly handing over documentation that implicates both family business dealings and network-backed tax filings, producers are said to be preparing for a worst case scenario, a court battle that could end the show. The kids are no longer silent. The adult children, long kept in the background, are stepping forward. Gabriel and Garrison are reportedly furious. They remember how their relationship with Kody fractured during the pandemic. Now, with financial discrepancies emerging, it's all falling into place. First, he left us emotionally. Now he's trying to leave mom with the bill. Even Christine's son has chimed in with cryptic warnings. A storm is coming. It's not just a family feud anymore. It's financial warfare. Reddit sleuths and TikTok detectives, fans are investigating. 2 TikTok threads have turned into digital courtrooms. Reddit is buzzing with timelines, LLC links, and suspicious bank transfers. Fans have tracked down county records and even delivery trucks tied to Robyn's remodels. The consensus: Janelle's been collecting receipts. for years. She just finally decided to use them. Why this could set a national precedent. Experts in family law are watching closely because this case could rewrite the rules for spiritual wives in plural families, especially when television fame, shared LLCs, and blurred business lines are involved. If a judge sides with Janelle, it could become the benchmark for how post-polygamy financial splits are handled in America. So, what happens next? Insiders say Janelle is not backing down. She's not seeking revenge. She's seeking protection. She wants her name off every entity she didn't agree to. She wants proof her investments weren't flushed in the name of family unity, and she wants it all on the record. Kody, meanwhile, is reportedly out of options. Banks won't bite on his refinancing pitches. His credit's tanking. And Robyn, she's urging him to settle quietly off camera. But Janelle's silence may be the loudest signal yet. She's not settling. She's ready to go public. She's ready to go to court. And if that happens, everything from the show's future to Kody's financial reputation could come crashing down.